All right, guys, we are live. You can see here I'm trading in my little cabin today. I mix it up a little bit. Um, let's talk about the market. Before I get started on it, guys, we have a little bit of news today. With the jobless claims, you got home sales should move the market a little bit. The the thing that is more important than all of that right now is going to be tomorrow when Powell speaks. Anytime he talks, it just absolutely rocks the markets. And then you can see on my screen here, we're opening it up pretty bullish from yesterday. Now, it doesn't surprise me because although, you guys always hear me taking puts or shorts, the thing is, what yesterday Biden came on and talked about how, everybody's worried about the debt ceiling, right? And if it's going to go up or not, if they're going to raise it. And he basically came on and said, like, if that all the leaders are in agreement that no matter what, we will not let the country default, right? The moment we heard that, we were like, it was super bullish, right? So we had scalped some puts yesterday, but then the moment we heard that, it was just kind of like, hey, let's hang tight, let's let this push. So it's kind of worked out because now it's pushed up, right? So it's even setting up for a better kind of put situation. So if you look at, I'm gonna show you a few things today. It's gonna be interesting, right? So you see, this was the rising wedge that we played out on Monday. We talked about, if it broke this lower trend line here, it's going to have some kind of steam, which it did. You can see ended up pumping that up around, like, I don't know, 2 o'clock or so. It was somewhere in here. This is on the 1 hour range. And so we did have that good pump up. So I'm going to take these off here. my TA, in a sense, has not changed, guys. If you look at the gap fill, these are the arrows from yesterday. I'm just going to delete them. So we still have a really crazy gap to fill. Now, although we are opening super bullish, we still have not created a higher high than this side, right? So we still have our peak, 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 peak. This is a super critical area, guys, today. Absolutely critical, because if we open up and we can't hold this, they're going to see weakness, and it is going to be that continuation of that rounded top we were talking about. And that's going to drive us down pretty well, right? Which is setting up for an amazing put. On the 1 hour, we're a little bit oversold, not too crazy. But what's interesting is, this is kind of what I was waiting for. If you guys have been watching me, is I wanted some kind of divergence set up, right? And so we have a bearish divergence right here. And for those who don't know what that is anytime you have a downtrend like that in the RSI, and then you have a uptrend in the candles like this, that typically shows a sign of weakness, right? It shows that our buyers are starting to get tired, basically, is what that shows. And this is on the 1 hour, so it's going to be pretty significant. And if you look at the 1 hour on the SPX on the 200, nope, this isn't. I'm on my other one's the 200. This is the 21. So we're really close to the 21 SMA. If we break this 21 SMA, right, with this kind of peak, break this neckline, we're going to see a pretty significant fall in that. So we do already have divergence showing up. You can see the Bollinger Band. It is bouncing and rejecting off of the band, which is typically known for a pullback. The only thing I would say is you have we're still pointing up and they are still green, right? So it's not 100% in there, but it's definitely starting to show, and you can see with the hour that we're in right now, it's coming that way. So what I was looking at is, if you go to this is how I trade my stock side of it. I have the kind of quad chart up. So this is the gap fill one. The gap fill one is the one where I use the zone tracker. Zone tracker has my 200. So if we go to the 1 hour on the 200, it tells a very different story. So you can see our zone tracker saying, hey, this is heavy resistance, which is playing out perfectly. It's also saying we have a gap fill to play here, which it has not even completed this one, let alone this one, but it's heading that way. As far as low, we need to get to at least 41.32 to retest this 100 EMA or 200 EMA before a bounce, before I'd believe that holds. Then the SPY is going to be about the same, guys. You guys, if you been following, the ranges. Anything up in here in this red or highest high would be this orange is the trend lines that I have rejecting. You can see right towards the end of the market, we got a double top call here and a short call there, right? Which obviously pre-market's a little bit up, but it hasn't been able to hold a higher high than this even on the pre-market. It's been up to about this level here, but then it's now obviously coming down. So if you look at a higher time frame on this is what we were talking about yesterday in the room. Is we're kind of setting up for that M formation. And you can see right here, it's right at that shoulder. So if the market opens and we do this and we start to bleed a little bit, be really careful, because if we bleed down to this neckline here, that's where it's going to just get pretty crazy. So I'm still staying put. For those of you guys who know me, my best trading that I've ever done when I scalp is to trade with the gap, is I guess the wording I'll say. So here's my upper trend line, which goes way back. Here's my lower trend line, which goes way back. If I mute the noise, then you can see it a little easier. We have such a space here. So for me to take a put here, I may worst case, let's say the stock goes nuts, right? I gotta fight it up to these levels here. But if I'm gonna call here and I don't set a stop loss, right, I'd have to fight it all the way down to here, which is not gonna happen. I'm not saying don't take calls. If I see the right setup, I don't mind taking a call, but I'm damn sure gonna put a really tight stop loss on that. So, but this is a very pivotal spot, and I'm gonna explain why here in a minute, because before I jump into the crypto side of it, because for those who don't know, the stocks and the Dixie play a huge role in crypto. But the thing that I have learned in my trading experience is when stuff doesn't add up, manipulation is heavy. And that typically means a big move's coming and they're trying to confuse people as to where that move is. Now, think about this, guys. Crypto is at like literally the same price as it was when SPY was down at 403. Pretty much the same price. Same with ETH. Now SPY has jumped all the way to 416 pretty much, and crypto hasn't moved. But here's what's interesting. The Dixie is exploding like we talked about, right? It's doing exactly what we talked about. So you go to the 1 hour, like we talked about, it's literally following what we said. If you guys watched my last two huddles, we're rounding our bottom. Doing exactly what we said. We said it would, round the bottom. If it found support here, it's going to explode up. It did. It would chase this peak. It did. It's going to aim for this prior support level to act as resistance. That would come down probably for a retest, and then it's going to explode north. But keep in mind, when the Dixie goes up, typically the move is the stocks lose strength, right? They go down. So I don't know. It's setting up like a really weird play. And so this is where, like, those of you guys who trade with me during the day, my brain goes crazy. I love to play, when I trade, it's like I'm playing chess. I like to analyze all potential moves, right? And so there's a few things that are happening here. Either A, the Dixie's going up and stocks should be going down, but they're trying to gain call contracts to balance liquidity, which is going to basically be a bull trap, right? Then they're going to dump on everybody. This is why I'm not taking calls. Not yet. B, the market makers are holding the price up at that squeeze point, which is the 416 range, knowing that if they break 417, it's going to explode to like 430, right? Like more. I mean, that's when I'm okay with taking calls and set stop loss, because we're almost guaranteed to just keep going, right? but they know they can't get past that without some help because they've rejected so many times over the last few months. And so sometimes that move is they'll squeeze it, let the Dixie climb where it doesn't make sense, then the Dixie drops, and it's enough to push it past that, right? And then FOMO just takes over from there, right? The market just runs with people just doing what I would do, right? Flip to call. So it's in a really weird spot, guys. Today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. I love trading news. If you're trading news tomorrow, when Powell speaks and stuff, just set stop losses. I don't recommend leaving anything over the weekend. I'm gonna close all my trades, win or loss, at the end of tomorrow, because with him speaking on a Friday, you got stocks up, crypto's not up, Dixie's up, which makes more sense as to why crypto's not up, but then stocks are up. Right? It's not lining up. And so in our room, as you guys know who follow us, we're more sure bet traders, right? We like to take those sure bets, and there's not really a lot of sure bets because it's not really making a lot of sense, because if stocks continue to climb, right, and the Dixie does do what we talked about, pull back a little bit, right, causing it to climb, crypto is going to explode. Like crypto, like you're going to see like a move to like 28.5, 28.6, like almost instantly, because eventually when the Dixie pulls back, and the stocks push, right, the people in crypto are going to go, wait, Dixie's going back, stocks are climbing, shoot, let's buy, right? And then you get a lot of support into the crypto side of it. So just there's an explosive move coming in crypto, because think about this way: if crypto hasn't moved north at 27.3, 20, in 18, 19, and all of a sudden now the Dixie explodes, and the stocks are like, whoa, like we're way oversold. I mean, you look at most stocks, like they're oversold on like every time frame up to an hour. So, or I'm sorry, overbought. And so if everything's like, okay, the stocks are overbought, the Dixie's climbing, like we may want to jump on board, right? So then the stocks start to sell off, they take their profit. Any kind of big move, like quick move, always impacts crypto. So if the stocks even dump back down to 408, right, from 416 or 404 again, if they do it in a quick move, crypto's going to 25K, like that. It's going to move, pretty heavily with it. So that's why I said, on the stock side of it, I'm like, put only. On the crypto side of it, a big move's coming. I just, which way that's going to be is going to be heavily, heavily dependent on what this Dixie does and what this the stocks do. So just play your range, right? Just be safe. At 27K, we can go as low as 23. We talked about that. If you looked at Bitcoin, so this was our line, right? So we could go as low as 23, but we could also go as high as 30, right? So we're kind of like right in that middle of the range, right? So just kind of be safe in the middle of the range. You can play both ways on crypto if you like to trade both short and long. You just need to be able to analyze your and or if situations, because, for instance, if we hold this line, which has been held as support, you might say, okay, I'm going to take longs. I'm okay with taking longs because we have a small gap here that could fill, right? We were drawing out this potential bull flag or bear flag early, which it did break out and it came in for a retest. So this could be the rejection. It's kind of an early breakout for me to really call that like a bear flag breakout, right? In our room, we draw patterns very early because I want people to get used to pattern recognition. But if we do reject here, right, it comes up, you kind of have that double top rejection. So if you look at it from historical speaking, each time it hit this line, we pumped, right? Didn't even make it, right? Pumped, right? And then this time we hit it, we tried to pump, and we lost steam early. Not only early, but we're losing it where it was once support. So the fact that it's doing that is showing a lot of weakness. It would need to, in order for this 1-2, or also known as double bottom, to break out, we need to break above this neckline. So it's got to get above like 27.5. If it breaks above 27.5 and holds as support, then it's like guaranteed to go to the 28.6, like probably 92% chance. But however, you know, as we talked about in the room, this could come up like this, right? Kind of double top, come down, be enough to break below this red line, find as resistance, and it's almost guaranteed to come to 25.2. So play your end or if situation. If you're playing longs, you may want to set a stop loss somewhere around here. If you're playing shorts on this, right, you know, you may want to set stop losses, you know, in through here. Or if you have enough room and you're trading like we do, where you don't trade overextending on your account, you could just use this trend line as a stop loss. So you can enter your short, enter a DCA here if the rules apply, and then you'll probably still get out profitable. But if it flips past this, then you want to get out because we're likely going all the way up. So play those scenarios, guys. The Ethereum, if you guys know, I haven't really deep dove into Ethereum because it's really just following Bitcoin. I mean, it's, you know, as far as price ranges, I get people that, you know, well, what's the upper and what's the lower for ETH and all that. You know, if you go to my other chart, like the low for ETH was like 15 something. I don't know that we'll break 17. I think like 1680 something was my low. And then the high, you know, could be as high as 21. So, or up in here, right? 2030 is the next, you know, peak. Aside from this break here, similar to Bitcoin, you know, we still have a rising channel, fighting these EMAs. I would keep a close eye on this 200, right? Notice this 200 EMA on the 1 hour. It tried to break it, lost it, tried to break it, lost it, tried to break it, lost it, reclaimed it, and we literally are just trading right on top of it. So currently we're below it, right? So, you know, if I'm looking at this really quick, you know, obviously I have my zone tracker, so it makes it a little harder to see. So if you ever get to where something's hard to see, right, just mute it. We do have somewhat of like an inverse head and shoulder on ETH playing, right? So if it can break this neckline, it's almost certain it's going to go to 1860. That's probably the high I would say for today. If it flips this red line here, then it could get as high as you know, 1885 or so. Now, however, if it continues to reject off of the POC here on the 1 hour, then we're likely to just come back down here to a retest around 1785, or even as low as retesting the 736. So that's kind of the range that I'm playing, guys. I do got to get into the ATAs. If you guys want more, you want more TA or whatever, you guys can come into the trading rooms, and we'll be happy to cover whatever you want. So let me save this. Let's take a look at the ATAs. So we have ETH long, ETH short, LTC long, LTC short, Matic long, Sol short, Sol long. So we got quite a bit to cover. So let's go into ETH, see where we're at. Guys, for those new, if you're watching on TikTok, this is our automated trading portion of the call. We do automated trading, so I'm going to cover what I do, and you're welcome to follow as you go along. So you can see my ETH long, you know, I'm looking at it, but I knew, you know, we're still stuck. We're in that position where unless we see a pretty good fall into that's low 17 or 16 range, I'm not going to touch it. We're not far from the entry, like 30, 40 bucks. Yeah, $40 from the entry. So one good pump and ETH is out and resets. So you can see the shorts are doing really well. 10 days, 126 bucks, shorting the crap out of it here. We got a short that it took here. Literally hit the take profit line. What a jerk. It hit the take profit line and then bounced up, right? But we're almost there again. Still hasn't even done one DCA, so we got so much room. So I love these scenarios because it if you're trading on Bitget, you can do long and short at the same time. That's why you see me do long and short ETH on the same time. So I am in a short and I am in a long right now. But the beauty is right now I'm positioned to where if it goes down, I win. If it goes up, I win, because I'm almost okay, if not prefer it to go up, because it did a good job waiting here. It did not get caught. And I have a DCA level here. So if I were to explode north, right? Like into here where my long would take its profit, then it comes back down. Now my short is going to DCA, so I'm going to earn my long, get it out, and I'm going to be in a really good position on my short. So this is the beauty and the power of trading your ATA on Big Ed, is that it gives you that win-win scenario like a lot. So which is really cool. So I'm not touching ETH, guys, so I'm not going to go deep into it. I got about 10 minutes, so we'll skip along here. We know we have LTC. Let's see how LTC is. I think the short's still not in the best of positions, but let's take a look at the long. I'm going to go to the 1 minute. All right, so our long done really well. 3 days, it's made $112. So, and LTC is so good. For those of you guys, I hear it all the time. You guys talking about like, man, I'm running LTC. Like I've made a ton of money. Something about LTC with the algorithm, man. It just, if you run on parallel XRs, it's so good. It has just been absolutely just so profitable for us. I mean, look at ETH, made 100 and something in like 10 days or 8 days. This one's 3 days, made 112, right? Currently we're in a long. We did DCA 1, so we're really close to the entry. I don't think I have a DCA 2 set up. No, I don't, which is fine. I don't want it. It's not... Don't be aggressive with setting up your DCAs. And what I mean by that is allow it to play out. I'm so close to this. There's no point in me putting a second DCA. I would need a fall to happen down into this range, right? For me to consider to say, okay, I may want, like if I get into this range, I need to put a second DCA in this range. This will basically bring my entry down to here. Well, then when I bounce off of my known support, I get out, right? It's a super simple way that you manage your extra DCA. So when you're adding DCAs, for those that are new, you're adding volume to your trade. If you add too much volume too fast, you get stuck. It's like going to, a blackjack table and you all in, put all your money, and then they deal you, an 11 and you're like, oh, I'm ready to double down. Well, you can't, right? It's a pretty good double down. You have a chance to, almost guaranteed to make money, right? If you get that face card. And so, but you have no more chips to play, right? You're out. So it's the same concept in trading like this, right? You don't want to play all your chips too fast. So, so that's why I'm going to be patient. So our longs, we're going to kind of sit tight. We do all know that our short is stuck. So our short did DCA from our DCA 2, and wasn't a terrible DCA, right? We could have got it maybe a little higher, but that's okay. It's not too bad so far. So keep in mind, default is 3 DCAs. So we have plenty of time, plenty of room. If I'm not sure where I want to DCA next, all I do is I go up to, because we did this DCA based off of the rejection from this level here, which so far is, not invalidated, right? But I would not DCA 3 until I get up to this range here, somewhere in this area. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait it out, right? These gaps don't usually hold. Even in these moves, you see, we still came back for a retest before moving higher. We still came back for a retest before moving higher. We just pretty much moved straight up so far. We haven't came back for that retest. So that's kind of where I'm at with LTC, guys. So my short, I'm just kind of leaving. You can see I don't have a DCA 3. I've already executed my DCA 2. So we're just sitting tight, but I'm okay with that. Either way, it's made, $150, within the 7 days, because this one's 7 days. So we had 120, I think it was 120 something, and then 42, let me see, 112. Yeah, so about $150 in that 7 days. So it's still earning really well, right? Now you just gotta give it the tools it needs to get out of these trades. The market's gonna move. Like I said earlier, there's a big move coming, right? If it goes up, we have a plan. If it goes down, we have a plan, right? So that's all. As we teach people in the room with trading, nobody has a crystal ball. I don't care who's lying to you. Nobody has the perfect entry every time, 100% of the time. It doesn't happen. What makes a good trader is how do you manage the trade that you're in, right? Are your risk management? Are you trading a low enough volume you can dollar cost average on the scalp? Are you trading higher volume and putting a stop loss? Like, there's many ways to do it, and they're all okay, right? As long as you have that risk mitigation, which we teach in the room. So Matic long and Sol short. So we got 5 minutes. These ones shouldn't take very long. Matic longs got out, guys. I did kind of sneak peek that one, but remember here, guys, when I was telling you I'm not worried about Matic, right? Because it loves to do these crazy, like pump moves. It's just that if you look at historically, I'm not going to do it because I don't have time, but Matic just does this all the time, right? It'll range and then just bam, out of nowhere. So we did get out. Matic did take another long, took another long, made profit, took another long, made profit, took another long, made profit, and now it's not in nothing. I am going to stop my Matic. So if you're following along, because I'm not in a trade, right? We already sold it. I don't, and I'm gonna tell you why is because although I believe in Matic and I believe that we could go up, you're gonna find I'm gonna make a decision also on Sol on some stuff because with having the Fed speak tomorrow, it's not the time to overextend your account with pairs because you don't want to have to fight. Like I had somebody, before like a CPI report running all 8 pairs right on minimum balance, and they're like, "Dang, I'm like stuck. Like, can you help me?" And I'm like, I talk about in the huddles, don't overextend your stuff during meetings because the ATA will kill it. I mean, we hear all the time about people making so much money on them, right? If we're just doing those normal moves, doesn't matter if it's up or down. It's just the normal up down movements, right? It's the parabolic shoots that, just like any trader, that it has to figure out if you don't have a stop loss, right? I would rather figure it out with 2 or 4 pairs or 4 directionals, 2 pairs, than like 8, right? It's just not. It doesn't make sense. And normally those parabolic moves come with things like FOMCs, meetings or discussions, CPI data, stuff like that. So I'm cool with just stopping Matic for now. Let's see how the meeting goes tomorrow. Now tomorrow we'll do the huddle around 8:30. The meeting's not till 11, so I may do like a secondary huddle tomorrow to kind of show you guys what I'm gonna do after they talk, right? So maybe we'll do like a huddle at 8:30, and I'll do a huddle at like 4 p.m. after market closes to tell you what I'm going to decide tomorrow. So we'll look into doing that. I like to do these huddles anytime I make changes. I don't usually look at it except for when I'm in these huddles, which is awesome because I can focus on other stuff. So let's check Solana. Interesting. So sweet. Look at our shorts doing good. We had a nice little pullback from Sol. So our shorts made $41 in 6 days. And for those guys wondering, this isn't on a massive account. This is like a $5,000 account that I'm doing all this on. So we have Sol is out right now. I think I'm gonna stop the Sol short also. So if you're following along, again, due to the meeting, so it's already out. There's no need for me to press it. So let's stop the Sol short. Let's see where we are in the long. Probably stuck. Yeah, we're stuck in the long. Okay, so we do have the second DCA initiated, but it has not triggered. See, we're only DCA 1. It has not hit our line here. What I'm going to do, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this. We're going to take the second DCA here, and I'm just going to push it down a little bit, like 6%. Like that. I might even go lower. Let's look at the 1 hour. We're right at 9 o'clock, but this is important. So I don't really want it to second DCA till it gets somewhere in this range. Because with the news tomorrow, right, we're either gonna go up or we're gonna fall pretty good. And so I'll probably put a line right there. So right around that yellow, right, because there's a lot of support near that yellow. So we want to squeeze it just a little bit further down. So let's go to like 7%. And what I'm watching is this little gray line here. The gray line symbolizes you cannot DCA until you get past this line. That's the code you're telling the ATA. I'm gonna do 6.5. You know, I don't like to put it that close to lines because you could wick down, hit it, and wick back up, and it doesn't have that opportunity to enter. So we'll find the middle of the road. So I'm good with that. But what I'm gonna do, guys, on Sol, because I'm already out of the short, I want to show you guys how to. We'll go a little over here today, but how to make this an existing trade. So if you come over to the actual trade, you want to try to find this buy. This is the most important thing about what you're going to do when you enter an existing trade. So you may asking yourself, like, well, why are you entering an existing trade? If you enter an existing trade, even though we're still accurate right now, our code will only take one trade. Once it closes that existing trade, it will not trade anymore. So I don't have to really watch it or worry about it. So when you come into the open, right? Not the DCA, right? You need to have the open here. You want to find one candle before. And so you can see that's at 1304 on May 15th. So now all I have to do, don't touch anything else. Just change this to May 15th. And then you're going to do, what did I say, 1304? 1304. 1304. And then you're going to change this from closed trade to existing. You're going to see the same trade stays there, but now it becomes teal. See, you have a teal line. This symbolizes that you have initiated a existing trade. This is just our code's way of ensuring that it is closed out and it did not take anything to allow it to open that existing trade. Now, if you notice, right, everything else stays the same. The DCA1 is still there. Our DCA2 is still here. Nothing has changed, right? And that's why it's so important. If you're doing the existing thing, you just do it on the exact trade point that you did, because if you do it on the exact trade point you did, this data doesn't change as long as you didn't change it. Now, if I change a DCA point, or I change how many DCAs, like let's say, I tell it not, you're not allowed to DCA at all, right? Now it's going to take that away, and it's not good because it's not going to match your entry. It doesn't match. It doesn't line up, right? But as long as you don't touch what it's already done, I can touch what it hasn't done. Doesn't matter. But I can't touch what it already has done, or it will not match my stuff. So now what's going to happen, what I've just told the code, and I can do this in a matter of minutes or seconds, right, is either A, we're going to get a pump up, and I want you to close and do not trade anymore. B, we're going to fall. I want you to DCA here when you get up and you close, do not trade anymore. Now I don't have to watch it. I'm not worried about it. I don't have to really kill it. I don't have to take a loss. At some point, I've only DCA'd once. I can do 2 and I can do 3, right? And if you look at the 1 hour on Sol, the low before it finds crazy support is around 1980, and then if you zoom out to the low, right, we're down to 1590. So we DCA 2 here. I probably won't DCA 3 until we get into here, right? And that's going to pull that entry in, and you can see that's just been explosive. So again, we have a plan, right? Always have a plan. So that's kind of my plan with my ATAs, guys. I hope you're following along. I know those who have been following along, have done really well for themselves. So and that's why I tell everybody, even if you're new and you're like, man, I don't know how to trade, you don't have to know how to trade. You just have to know how to watch a 15-minute video and do what I do, right? So currently we're running long short of ETH and LTC. I'm cool with running those 2 pairs. And then we have Sol long, but Sol long is an existing. Now, the thing about Sol is, right, and I almost missed this step, right? And sometimes it's funny, I'm very patternistic on stuff, but sometimes when I get on these calls, I distract myself. But I just remembered we modified that DCA, right, the second one. So we do have to delete this Sol long because we did move it to an existing, right, and we modified the DCA. So delete the Sol long alert. Any modifications that you make in an indicator, you have to delete the alert and make another one. Otherwise, the alert doesn't know that you made it. It's impossible. So, and then I'll do Sol long is existing. And so I like to add exist in there because when I'm looking at my to-do list, I know what is an active trade and what is an existing. So if, like, come tomorrow, because I get a lot going on with projects and trading and just life, right? So I don't want to have to worry about what I'm exactly running. So I use this as my to-do list. So that's why sometimes you'll see me go like, oh, I didn't even know I was running this. I totally forgot. So I like to add exist in there because it tells me, oh, this was an existing trade. Cool. Let me see if it triggered. If it triggered, the moment it triggers, right, it will never trigger again. So you just delete that alert when you're done, and you're done running it. And then we're back down to 4 pairs. And those who've been following me, you guys have seen I've gotten all the way up to 6 or even 8 pairs or 8 directions within pairs, within 4 pairs. But I hear some people that sometimes get greedy with it, and they'll be like, oh, man, I'm still running 8. I seen you scale back, but I'm just gonna let it go. It's not a bad thing, right? I mean, if you have, I tell everybody, manage your own risk. If you can add funds at any time, like you can add 5K and double it, swing for the fence, go for it, right? Not everybody can do that. If if your significant other told you, hey, you got $5,000 to play with, when you lose it, you're out, right? You may not want to be really risky with it, right? You may not want to do that. So in these huddles, I try to find that balance of aggressive when it's the right time to be aggressive, and scale back when the right time to scale back. Don't get caught up in the FOMO, guys. It's just not worth it. So it's 8:06 or 9:06. I'm 6 minutes past. I apologize for those watching the video. I try to really hard to keep these only 30 minutes. But we had a lot of good data to talk about. I'm going to leave you with one thing here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see. So Bitcoin actually was in a short, which is playing out perfectly. So these indicators are so good. Look at this. Caught the long, called the short. So I didn't put this out this morning, guys. Apologize doing this call. But you guys have access to this indicator now. So if you're trading it, then congrats. You guys are killing it, because these last... Actually, let's go back even here, right? Called the short, called the long, called the short. So good. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. ETH, I'll give you a little tidbit. I go to the 2 minute, guys. If you're following the Harmonic Tracker Pro, it's really, really accurate on the 2 minute. So ETH looks like it did kind of the same thing here. So you can see we're currently in a short. This one's actually TP2, so that short has killed it. It's called a short since 6 o'clock this morning with an Instar cipher, and it did catch the long, and it did catch that short. So doing what it's supposed to do, guys. So hope you guys are using these indicators. If you guys want, man, look at this I'm gonna guess that the the jobs report didn't come out very bullish, because we went from 416 to 414, and those of you guys in the room, you guys traded with us yesterday, y'all know we're in puts anyway, so we'll let it go. Drop on down, man, make some money. I love nothing better than when you can actually get to a position where you can open market with already in profit. So I'm kind of bummed though. You guys, I know you guys, Alex, John, Pop Bill, you guys know I was kind of hoping it would hang out up here, because I want to add market open. I wanted to just add 50 contracts and just ride that sucker down. So it kind of sucks pre-market's dropping already, but who knows, maybe we'll get a little pump market open, and we'll ride that thing down. TikTok, if you guys want to hang out, I'll continue with you guys to answer questions, and I'll take a look at your questions. But for those in the community, I will send out that room invite here in give me about 15 minutes. So we'll see you soon.